Hello there and welcome to GamePoints episode 167, our weekly get together. We talk about recent gaming news. I'm as always your host, Stephen Brown, and joining me today is...
I'm David.
David, tonight.
And it's Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. We have a little bit of a hiccup going on. Normally we broadcast on Mondays, but the past few weeks we had to do it on Tuesday. But don't worry, next week everything will go back to normal. But since you're here tonight, let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to have on the table. We have some unfortunate EA layoffs to get off the table, rather. Just kind of forgot where I was going with that. We have
get off on EA layoffs. That's what he's talking
right. We have Sony and Xbox both trying their hand at a Nintendo Direct. We have Bloodlines 2, which looks amazing, and a few other things to talk about before we finish up the night. This is, of course, an audience interactive podcast, so if you're joining us live here at twitch.tv/GamePoints, feel free to join the conversation. Top in with whatever topics you want to talk about or what we happen to be talking about at the time. Just keep it civil, as always. And, of course, if we want to support the show, you guys know what to do at home. David, what have you been up to over the weekend?
What the fuck do you think I've been up to over the weekend?
Probably working, I imagine.
No. What happened on Friday?
Oh, yeah, Sekiro. That's right.
That's all I've been doing all weekend.
How you liking it?
It's
I'm
pretty great.
assuming you like it.
I do like it quite a lot because it takes a franchise I like, Dark Souls.
Yes.
See, I can compare it to Dark Souls because it's made from the same fucking people. But it's not just the Dark Souls of ninja games.
Are you sure?
Because it doesn't actually play. Yes, it has some like core DNA, but it doesn't play like a Dark Souls game. Because
no, it doesn't.
Play it like a Dark Souls game, you get your ass kicked.
Yeah, I did notice that. I'm like trying to dodge everywhere and roll everywhere, and it's just ain't happening.
You play it like a really tight, really difficult Tenchu game, and I kind of love it.
No, it's a solid game. It's a good game.
I'm a big fan of stealth games in general. Like Metal Gear is my other favorite franchise, and Tenchu games are always pretty great. But sneaking around and killing a whole level full of places and then going into a boss fight is pretty fun.
Yeah, it is certainly it's certainly worth the praise it's been getting.
It's hard as fuck to like get over that hurdle of I need to actually play this game the way this game wants me to play it.
Yes, because I keep falling to that trap that you were mentioning of playing it like a Dark Souls game. I keep wanting to dodge and roll, and I have that invincibility. And the game, this is not that game.
Yeah, dude, you don't have you won't find the same iframes you find in another game. You actually need to learn to parry, but parrying's a little bit easier. It's just something you have to do.
Yes, it is worth your time though, especially if you do like. I know we just spent a few minutes saying this is not like Dark Souls as far as combat goes, but there's enough of that. It feels like a From Software game, so you're going to know what you're going to get. And if you like those games, you'll probably like this.
In much, well, I think we figured this out when Monster Hunter came out. It has weighted combat where actions have consequences. Anytime you swing your weapon, it doesn't just auto cancel. Like you can't just roll out of it. You're locked in animation.
Yeah, if you button mash, you're screwed.
Yeah, basically. It's fun. I like it.
Mm-hmm. And usually when you die, you know exactly what you did wrong.
Yeah. More or
Although,
less. Stood in front of that thing you shouldn't have stood in front of.
There is one bit of bullshit I want to address.
Yes.
The first time you meet one of those weird ogre son of a bitches, his grasp locks on you like a son of a bitch. And that is unacceptable. Because you could like be almost behind him, and I swear that son of a bitch pivots on a dime to grab you.
Yeah, are you talking about like the leaping grab?
Yeah.
Yeah, the tracking on that move's kind of insane. But it's just you have to learn the timing and just dodge at the last second. It's weird.
It's some bullshit. But overall, it is a damn good game. Anyways, with that, I've been playing the same thing as well, by the way. That and I actually finally got down and played that Battlestar Galactica Sin and Sacrifice game.
See, I thought you were just been playing Darkest Dungeon the whole time.
Or rather, Battlestar Galactica Deadlock, I should say. It is a turn-based / real-time game set during the Cylon War. It's cool. Take a look at it. It should be relatively cheap right now. And I have been playing Darkest Dungeon a lot, too. I've been finally going through a full playthrough for that. It's a game I've started and stopped at least 5 times now, but I'm committed to actually finishing it. And you can watch me playing that here at this channel Tuesday through Thursday. David.
Besides this Tuesday when we're doing this. Let's talk about things.
Let's get into the news.
Video game news. This one is actually... Well, not necessarily breaking, but it is from today. If the show was yesterday, you wouldn't know this yet. In a story from our not actually friend or associated with, but good buddy Jason Schreier over at Kotaku, EA's laying off 350 employees in the marketing, publishing, and more divisions.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. This has been a bad year for video games when it comes to layoffs. So
it's been a bad year for video game employees specifically.
Yeah. You had ArenaNet announce their layoffs. You had Activision Blizzard announce all of their layoffs, and now EA is definitely joining that fray. From the article here via Kotaku from Jason Schreier, as we addressed earlier, the video game publisher Electronic Arts is laying off 350 people in marketing, publishing, and other areas. The latest move in what's been a brutal year for the gaming industry. In an email to employees obtained by Kotaku, EA boss Andrew Wilson said the goal would be to streamline decision-making in the marketing and publishing departments following a consolidation that began last year, improve customer support, and change some of its internal strategies, a move that includes closing offices in Russia and Japan. Now, one thing I do want to make clear here is that just because the article deliberately calls out Russia and Japan, these layoffs were global. There are people who lost them in the Bay Area, for example. So
makes sense.
What is your initial impression off of this?
That I'm so jaded talking about game layoffs that I don't actually have like strong emotions in a way that any action will be taken at all. Like, the game industry is weird because it hires a bunch of people and then they ramp up and do things and then they fire a bunch of people. And that's just how the whole industry operates.
Yes, but doesn't it feel like it's a little bit worse right now, or is it just that it's all happened at once? Because what the question I'm trying to ask here is it just getting more noticed right now that this happens all the time, or is this an actual unusually high volume of layoffs?
I think it's an unusually high volume for the time of year, because I think we probably have the same amount, but it's spread throughout the whole year, whereas we're in March and we've had a shit ton.
And what does that speak to the overall health of the video game industry?
Shareholders are mad because they don't really get how the game industry works and they want everything to be Fortnite or Apex.
Is that it? Or is it just because publishers are out of ideas and people are, and they've pissed away all their goodwill? Software sales might be down. I need to take a look.
It could be actually like gamer fatigue.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying gamer fatigue.
In my opinion, the mainstream gamer, like, the guys that just still buy games from Target or Walmart or just download it from the store whenever it comes out, and they don't really read about a lot of stuff, none of this factors into them. Like, I don't think the people that are running to buy Far Cry or running to buy the new Call of Duty care.
No, and I see what you're saying, because your average gamer, and I don't necessarily like using that term, but you're the person who's most likely to buy this stuff. They're not us. They're not people who talk about this incessantly every week about what's going on. They have if you say, they might know the name like EA or Blizzard, but they're not going to go, oh yeah, I know that developer Jade Raymond went to work for Google now. They're not going to know that kind of shit. They're only going to know, I like playing these 3 games a year.
And as long as those games keep coming out, who cares if some people lost their job? It's a weird system, because name another industry where they like ramp up production and fire a bunch of people. I guess like movies, maybe, but that's one single project. Like I don't really know. It's
like
weird.
Construction, maybe.
Yeah, that's a weird industry to be comparing to the video game industry.
It's one of those things though. You usually, and I mean, I will fully admit I'm kind of talking out my ass out here. I don't know for certain, but wouldn't you hire just a bunch of contractors for that? Not bring people on for full time and then let them go?
See, that makes the most sense to me.
And this doesn't feel like that either. What I see is that, let's see, 350 people in marketing, publishing, and other areas. Keep in mind, it's not just marketing and publishing, but those two seem to be the big areas hit.
Hardest hit, yeah.
Marketing has changed in video games dramatically over the past year. And we're going to talk about some of that later in the show as well.
Well, and you could say a good argument for, losing a lot of the marketing team is look at the newest Battlefield and how much marketing there was behind that. Like, big budget, full status, AAA style, like Super Bowl ads, commercials every other minute. It is Battlefield in your face constantly, and how well that game did. And then Apex, which was released via a tweet saying, yeah, it's got loot boxes in it, so fuck you, it's out now. And that game's a worldwide phenomenon.
How much does a 30-second Super Bowl ad cost? And compare
Millions.
that, and how many people did that actually reach and do something for? And compare that to the $1 million EA paid Ninja to advertise Apex Legends.
Yeah, the average cost for a Super Bowl ad for like 30 seconds is multiple million. It's like $5 million.
Is it? Okay. I don't know. I know it's more than $1 million.
It's like $5 to $10 million, I think, for a
And how much of an impact did that actually have? What has bigger impact? One 30-second Super Bowl ad, which, I mean, that is...
A lot of people will see, but they're not necessarily your target audience.
No.
People that are watching football aren't necessarily the people that play Battlefield. People watching Twitch streams are already into the industry and will probably want to play whatever their favorite streamer's playing.
So this is where I'm going to get a little harsh. And feel free to criticize me down below. I am open to it, and I am being unnecessarily cruel. I don't want to say cruel, but unnecessarily realistic.
He's being a dick because that's his best feature.
When we have influencers, streamers, people playing your game, the influencer is the catch-all term.
Yeah.
Do you need a massive marketing team anymore? Or do you just need like 10 people to control who gets what codes and to set up the occasional sponsorship every now and then?
See, that's really the question, because I feel like a lot of people can get this goes all the way back to our argument with Nintendo content blocking every single one of their games.
Yeah.
And them just like losing out on free advertising, because I understand why people dislike like no commentary, single player story based Let's Plays. Because that makes a shit ton of sense. Because if everyone just sits there and watches the new Quantic Dream game or whatever, no one's gonna buy it, and that company's just legitimately fucked. But if it's like a multiplayer game or a living game or a game that changes, that's stuff that can be fun to watch, because then it influences you to want to actually play it, which is why they call them influencers, because they set trends. And for those kinds of games, it makes sense to pursue a more, I guess, viral-styled marketing strategy, whatever the fuck you want to call it. We're in weird internet waters at this point.
Wouldn't you say, as we see more and more companies pulling out of big conventions like E3, no longer doing press conferences. EA, for example, is not doing a press conference at E3 anymore.
Yeah, and you don't need a big sizzle reel, because that's not the only exposure that you're going to have.
So, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you got it. I was going to like make a throwback to print media, but you keep going.
Right. I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at, though, right? Doesn't that mean, and it might be harsh to say, but doesn't that mean traditional marketing arms are like the buggy whip industry? They're just outdated. They are no longer effective. And as such...
For the game industry, for certain titles, I would say yes.
Right. And I'm not saying it's not
for
100%.
Everything. Not for games with mass appeal, not for... But your, like, I guess, more niche titles, or like your multiplayer heavy stuff that sticks to a certain genre. Yeah, I feel like find a couple of YouTube stars, find a couple of Twitch stars, and get them playing your game constantly and see where it goes.
So then, if those people aren't needed anymore, shouldn't a company be able to just let them go and us not bitch about it? Their job has been made obsolete.
I mean, we can get into that argument. That's fine.
I mean, that's a very harsh way of saying it, and I don't even know if that applies here, because I know people can make the case of going, no, you still need a high in-depth marketing team, and I agree, you still need a marketing team, but do you need 350 people working in marketing?
Isn't just the people making commercials. It's also, people that probably are working on box design and all that other nonsense.
People who set up conventions, which EA is not going to anymore.
True.
Or at least not doing, let me phrase that. They are going to conventions, but they're not doing the big E3 presentation that costs hundreds of millions of dollars to get the sound set up.
It's the same argument for all kinds of like shrinking industries right now, though, because like the tech industry is kind of outsourcing humans to the internet.
Yeah, and it's this somewhat ties back into the voice actor discussion when we're talking about how voice actors are going on strike. It's like, hey, fucking form your union, fight for what you think is fair pay, but realize that you're in a job where you have 1,000 other people, of which you, even if only 10% of them are talented, you're going to find that talent who are willing to do what you're doing for a fraction of the price. And that's what you're seeing here. There are people who are streamers who are like, I will do this for fucking free just to get my name out there. And they're doing the marketing for you.
Well, and go ask an indie dev, like someone that's got a small title.
Yeah.
What would they rather have? Like a 30-second Super Bowl ad for their indie game? Or
Ninja play it for a night.
Yeah, or Ninja play it for 8 hours. Like, these people have millions and millions of followers, and you'll get so much exposure from them. It's kind of ridiculous.
Right. So, just to kind of sum up what we're going on here, it is not all from marketing and publishing, but that seems to be where the bulk of these layoffs are happening. And this is, I know that we were ragging pretty hard on Activision Blizzard over their layoffs, because that seemed especially fucked up and callous. But this one right here, I look at and I just kind of, no one rails on EA harder than I do. Don't get me wrong. But this one I look at and I kind of go, yeah, okay, I get it. This is the face of a changing industry that has changed radically over the past fucking year and a half when it comes to how to get information about your game out.
And it still sucks.
Yeah.
Like, people losing their jobs in the industry is not good.
I absolutely have sympathy for 350 people losing their jobs. I don't think me being unsympathetic and cold and cussed, but this is one of those things I look at and go, this is just business.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. It's that cold, heartless, like if you're getting in an argument with like a coal miner, like, hey, your job is probably not going to be here in 30 years.
Yeah. It's different.
It's just with this industry specifically, it's just moving so much quicker.
Yes, it's different than when, say, to use EA as an example again, when they closed down Visual Studios because they took a team that was like, we make Dead Space, and they're like, okay, cool, now put multiplayer into it. Okay, cool, now make Battlefield Hardline. And it feels like a bunch of executive decisions that kept that team from really shining. This is just one of those, it's a business decision, guys. Sorry, it fucking sucks, but here it is.
Yep.
Anyways, back to the article from Jason Schreier over at Kotaku. In a statement that EA sent to Kotaku itself, and it's a long one, so bear with me. This came from EA. Quote, "Today we took some important steps as a company to address our challenges and prepare for the opportunities ahead." As an aside, I hate that fucking technobabble, that business newspeak. It's like, guys, just fucking say what you mean. Don't try to dress this pig up. Just go, here's some shit sandwich coming. I hope you swallow it down nicely. Back to the article. "As we look across a changing world around us, it's clear that we must change with it. We're making deliberate moves to better deliver on our commitments, refine our organization, and meet the needs of our players. As part of this, we have made changes to our marketing and publishing organization, our operation teams, and we are ramping down our current presence in Japan and Russia as we focus on different ways to serve our players in those markets. In addition to organizational changes, we are deeply focused on increasing quality in our games and services. Great games will continue to be at the core of everything we do, and we are thinking differently about how to amaze and inspire our players. This is a difficult day. The changes we're making today will impact about 350 roles in our 9,000-person company. These are important but very hard decisions, and we do not take them lightly. We are friends and colleagues at EA. We appreciate and value everyone's contributions, and we are doing everything we can to ensure we are looking after our people to help them through this period to find their next opportunity. This is our top priority," end quote. 350 people in a 9,000 company, that is roughly what? 4%? 3%?
Not as bad as the Activision one.
No, which was
8.
800 in a 6,000
I think so.
person company. It was 8. It was about 2 to 3 times as many as it is here.
Mm-hmm.
Still sucks. One person who works in the affected department told Kotaku this morning that these layoffs have been expected for a while now, that EA had put a hiring and traveling freezes on marketing for several months. People within marketing and publishing have been expecting a reorganization since at least last October, the anonymous person said.
Dang.
And that is one of the danger signs, right? When suddenly, when a company goes, okay, we're no longer going to have a presence at places that we used to have presence at. We're not going to hire any more people. Those are telltale signs of
no travel. It's
a
pretty big one.
Yeah, those are signs that something bad is about to happen. Anything thoughts on this, David, before we move on?
No, not really. I think we hit this over the head enough when we talked about the Activision layoffs.
Yeah, 1 second.
it sucks. It's a bummer. It's a thing that happened, and it's not great.
No, it's not, and it's another day, another layoff, right? I mean, that it just
at this point, it kind of
keeps
feels
fucking
like
coming.
Yeah, we'll be back on this exact topic in probably less than a month when the next company does it.
Yeah, I can imagine that
like.
happening for sure. This is. Hope Days Gone does good, because I think Sony Bend might be next up the chopping block. If Days Gone doesn't do good, Sony Bend, that studio's gone. And Sony is... EA gets a lot of shit for closing studios, but Sony is ruthless when it comes to shutting down shit they bought if it doesn't perform well. So Days Gone comes out April something, 3rd week of April, I believe.
25th?
If that game doesn't sell, they're fucking done too, I think. Let us know what you guys think about the layoffs down in chat below, of course, or in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube later on. As I said, this one specifically feels like just, I mean, a reorganization is the nice way, is the way of saying it. It's that their jobs are not as relevant as they used to be. And I know that sucks to hear if you're one of the 350 people that are losing it, but that's what this feels like.
They have nothing big coming out, and they don't need the push Battlefield and whatever is hard.
And it does feel different than Activision Blizzard just chopping off 800 people going, oh, well, these games just don't make as much. And I mean, we've talked about it to death. I think we've covered how we feel on it, but let us know what you think down in the comments below. David.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do a hard jump to another story that happened very recently, yesterday, in fact. And why don't you lead us off on this one?
Well, this story is from Variety, where we get all of our gaming news. But this is actually something that happened at an event in
as an aside, Variety's been doing good work lately. I like Brian Crescente a lot. I believe he was one of the founders of Polygon. I'm not positive on that anymore. And we use him specifically as a source a lot too.
Anyway, Apple, yes, that Apple, announced a gaming subscription service called Apple Arcade. That's a name for a thing.
Yeah, it certainly is.
And it's been rumored for a while. It had a special event at its headquarters over there in Cupertino, California. Apple Arcade is the world's first game subscription service for mobile, desktop, and living room, the company said. With a subscription, you get access to more than 100 new and exclusive games. Games won't be on any other mobile platform, according to Apple. You can download and play as many of the Apple Arcade games as you want. They all feature crossplay between different Apple devices.
Okay,
family
stop.
Support,
Pause real quick. Wasn't crossplay between all Apple devices a thing?
How is it not?
Yeah, I don't understand how it's not. I mean, please, let us know.
How is that like a feature?
Yeah, I thought
like,
if you had an Apple device, like the whole idea was it's all part of the Apple family and able to be cross-played. Am I missing something here?
I doubt it. They probably just put it in because they ran out of shit to talk about, because it's a subscription service for fucking mobile games.
Yeah,
they don't have pricing. They don't have further details. It's going to launch in the fall. And it's pay Apple some money and then get access to their mobile library, specifically like iPhone App Store exclusives, because it says that it's all going to be exclusive to Apple.
You can tell our enthusiasm about this topic from our
okay, so we talked about
voices.
different subscription services. You know, there's like PlayStation Now, there's the Xbox One, which I feel we've kind of agreed is still the best value just because of what you can get from it. You know, works with Xbox, with PC. I don't know anyone. I don't know a single person that would get even a little bit excited about spending a monthly fee to have access to mobile games.
No, they're very much a pick and choose platform. It's like, I see this one game, I'm going to buy that one game, and that's going to keep me occupied for a long time.
Yeah, or you just buy a free game until it pisses you off, and then you delete it, and you get another free game. Like,
there are some good names attached to this, though. For example, Mistwalker has shit in development for it. If you don't know who Mistwalker is, that's a development company by a guy whose name I forget, but he's essentially one of the brains behind Final Fantasy.
There could be a couple cool games in the service. That's something I can totally understand. But why wouldn't I just buy those games? Why the would I pay them probably $9 a month for what's going to be mostly shit?
Beyond a Steel Sky is coming. Beyond a Steel Sky is coming too. But I would just buy that game on its own.
There's probably a handful of games that are good that are literally just the games you would normally buy on the App Store. And unless there's like enough great games that the monthly cost is like $3 or something just ridiculously cheap.
It just feels so sense. Like, hey, look at me, I'm here too, kind of Apple. It's just, I'm kind of like, I don't care.
Yeah, it's weird.
As an aside rant, all of this happened at a conference that Apple was doing yesterday. Did you see that Apple TV bullshit? Or the Apple TV Plus, or whatever it's called?
No, I glazed over.
Okay.
It's Apple.
So
Apple's this funny company where they're kind of like living the American dream, and I should love them for it, but I just don't.
Yeah, I used to be a big Apple guy. I stopped caring, though. What I want to bring up, and this really isn't gaming related, it's gaming tangential, though. You know how when the Oscars were happening and Spielberg came out and he was bitching about Netflix movies being nominated for Oscars and shit, and he's like, no, Netflix movies should be on there.
That shit was hilarious. That was like the most old man yells at cloud moment I've seen.
This motherfucker came out and started pushing the Apple TV Plus, or whatever the fuck it's called, saying it's a new home for movies and shit. It's like, motherfucker, you just went on a tirade about how movies from Netflix aren't good enough to win Oscars and shouldn't be considered. And now you're fucking hawking Apple TV Plus.
6 weeks. 6 weeks or some shit like that.
Get the fuck out of here, Spielberg.
Stay in your lane, boy.
Bold to tell one of the greatest directors of all time to stay in his lane when it comes about movies, but hey, ride or die. I'm really to go with it. That said, you said it perfectly. It is old man yells at cloud.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think of. It's just that old Simpsons joke with like Abe yelling at the sky.
With a massive dash of hypocrisy that he is also pushing this fucking platform. And it's more old man yells at cloud while being paid by the rain industry to yell at clouds instead of rain or some shit like that. It's a bad analogy, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I get
it. Anyways, I was just thinking about that as we were talking about that, because I could care less about mobile gaming, and I had to think of something else other than mobile gaming to get through that without just falling asleep.
Well, Apple wasn't the only one that had a little announcement come out this last week.
No, not at all. Sony did their first of what seems to be many of their state of play videos yesterday, I believe it was, on Monday. And what this seems to be right now is State of Play seems to be Sony's answer to the Nintendo Direct. It was roughly 15 minutes. It was cut in a very Direct-esque style where it's like, hey, here's a bunch of trailers and announcements. It was tight. It was quick. We got in and out and we were done. We're going to go through that real quick. We're not going to go into big details about every single thing coming out, but this is what was announced. You had Iron Man VR coming in 2019. Did you see the trailer for
that? Yeah, I guess that's a thing. Cool.
Something about it didn't feel right, but that is coming. You also had some Crash Team Racer Nitro Kart stuff on there. You had No Man's Sky coming with PSVR support. Ready Set Heroes from the Orcs Must Die guy. Blood and Truth coming May 28th. Now, this looks cool. This is that London...
The Getaway was one of the coolest like VR demos, I think, from that launch. So
I don't know if it was called The Getaway, but yeah, it was. This is that VR game being made by the guys who did The Getaway on PlayStation 2.
Yeah, okay. Whatever their last one was, that was cool.
Yeah, they did have some PlayStation VR demo, and damned if I can remember what it was called.
They had some demo, but it was rad. I don't remember what it was called.
That's coming out May 28th. Observation coming in May. That looks really cool. It's a Devolver game, a Devolver published game. Got a little bit of flack, which we will go into as we get a little bit further on. Five Nights at Freddy's is coming to VR. Jump Scare, the video game.
There's 11 of those, so it's got to be everywhere.
And then you had some more information about Concrete Genie, Days Gone, and Mortal Kombat 11. So we
Mortal Kombat 11, by the way, is shaping up to be pretty great.
It's weird how that franchise is back in a good way.
Dude, it looks fantastic.
So a couple pullaways I wanted to take from this. A couple takeaways I wanted to pull away from this. One, I was convinced Sony was just going to abandon VR.
But
this was an entire market.
I think you called that like last year that there was going to be absolutely no VR at E3 or something like that.
And there wasn't. But they really doubled down on the VR on this one. Like almost every game they announced was either VR exclusive or VR compatible.
Now, see, does that mean we're going to get a new version of the headset soon?
I think so. I think this is Sony starting to gear up saying, hey, when PlayStation 5 launches, we're going to have and in my opinion, it must be wireless, but a VR2 headset.
Oh, also, we skipped probably the best thing that was on this list. I don't know how.
What is that?
I think you kind of jumped over it, but I wanted to talk about No Man's Sky in VR a little bit more.
Yeah, by all means.
Because that game is more or less a walking spaceship simulator that didn't launch how people wanted it, but they've been constantly working on it. And to their credit, Hello Games is doing a great job of trying to actually deliver from that original presentation and make that game great. But again, it's still just an exploration game, and that entire concept seems like a perfect fit for VR. I don't know why I
absolutely agree.
I don't know why I ever made that association before.
And I believe it's a free update. I don't think you have to pay for it.
That sounds rad.
Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I believe that is going to be a free update, which is amazing. Yeah. Another takeaway?
Perfect game to zone out in.
Right. Another takeaway? Sony doesn't really have much coming out this year, unless they go full Nintendo Direct on this, and this is a once every 6 weeks kind of thing.
Yep, and they just start coming out like clockwork.
And I think that is what's going to happen, because if you look at the schedule, if I look at my timetable here, 2 months from now would be May. So if you do it 6 weeks, April 30th. 2 months from now would be roughly E3. So instead of doing their E3 conference, they have like a 30-minute state of play.
Yeah.
And then you can have another state of play right during August, right before the holiday season. So the timing seems about right, that 6 to 8 week period for directs to have your E3 state of play. That would be the next one, for example. In my
know what it's missing, though?
What's that?
And I know it's never going to happen. We've had this conversation several times. But the one thing they could make the state of play great is Kevin Butler.
Yeah, no way.
I know he's never coming back.
Sony sued Jerry Lambert, or whatever that guy's name is. He's not coming back, man.
But we don't necessarily need him, but we need somebody.
What happened to the Vita kid? What was his name? Marcus?
Yeah, it was that kid from Grown Ups.
I gotta find out what this. Yeah, Jerry Lambert. That's the actor who made a Kevin Butler. But yeah, that's just not coming back. I'd love it. I would love to see Kevin Butler come back. But
like I like the sizzle reel, but like just a 20-minute sizzle reel thing. I feel like the Nintendo Direct kind of has a better system where they have like an announcer, and some people might hate that.
Fair enough. But this is Sony's first crack at it.
I feel like having some direction to the video makes it flow a little bit better.
Right, and this is Sony's first crack at it.
Just disagrees with this thing being out at all.
They were pissed. If you look at its ratio right now on YouTube, it's like 5,000 likes to 15,000 dislikes or something like that.
It's over 20,000 dislikes.
Is it at that now? And I don't get it, because
I don't know why people are so mad about it.
Well, they're mad because they were hoping to get like Death Stranding news or Last of Us 2 news or something. But Sony, I don't know where I read this from, but I went into this knowing this is going to be PlayStation VR focused. So I knew what to expect. Maybe Sony dropped the mismarketing on it. But this is no different than when Nintendo does their Direct, and people don't get nearly as salty.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Nintendo bias is real.
The stupid thing is a lot of the comments that are bashing it are like, oh, we don't get E3 and this is what we get.
It's like, no, motherfucker, E3 is still 2 months away.
This is the only fucking Sony news that we're going to get at all this year, and anyone who honestly believes that is a fucking idiot.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's
no way they're just going to go dark until PSX in November.
Right, if they even do a PSX, because they didn't do one last year, I don't think.
True. But I feel like if they had a PSX this year, that would be when they're talking about next gen.
People are irrationally salty over this for no reason. And
people get mad on the internet about
people are like, oh, why the fuck are you doing only VR? And I get it. I think only 4 million VR units have sold, which is like maybe 5%. I think 4 million. Let's do some math here. 4 million PlayStation VR units, roughly 80 million PlayStation 3 consoles or PlayStation 4 consoles in the wild. So 5%.
Still better than the other two VR headsets.
Yeah, combined, if I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe it's combined.
I'm pretty sure.
So I get why people are like bitching about it, but once again, I swear Sony said this was going to be a focus on VR. I went into this knowing it was going to be mainly VR. So I know I either read it or heard about it somewhere. but they're bitching to bitch. It's like the same people who complain about Nintendo Labo. This isn't for you, man.
It's not for you. Yeah.
Not every single fucking announcement has to be for you. But while on the topic of announcements, not to be left out of the Nintendo Direct off, Xbox also got into their own thing as well. And this one followed more or less the same idea as a Nintendo Direct, although a little bit more presentation-y. ID at Xbox Games Pass was what they called theirs, and it was mainly focused on indie games coming to Games Pass. And it was about 13 minutes long. They announced some games coming up, and they also had a couple developer interviews as well, which was different than what Nintendo Direct and Sony does. They actually tried to split the difference between a Direct and a press conference at E3. Announced on the ID at Xbox Game Pass was Killer Queen Black. If you never played Killer Queen, go to like a Dave & Buster's and see that giant 8-person arcade table there. It's pretty goddamn cool. The Outer Wilds, not to be confused with the Outer Worlds, looks like an exploration game. You had Void Bastards, which is a cel-shaded cartoony first-person shooter looking thing. Opernica, The Stolen Sun, Super Mario Shrek, The Good Life, After Party, which looks like a story-based party in hell from the Oxenfree guys, and Blazing Chrome.
Chrome looks
yes, right. Blazing Chrome looks good. It's Contra.
Yeah, definitely looks like Contra. This video is doing way better as far as the ratios, but it has so many less views than the Sony one, which is kind of funny to me.
Well, that's Xbox in a nutshell, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's like no one's mad at it, but because no one watched it.
Yeah. All these games are coming to Game Pass, I believe, day one. Don't quote me on that. I know some of them are definitely day one to Games Pass. Once again, just showing the value of that service Xbox is providing. And I'm telling you, David, right now, Sony has an image problem at the moment. They might not think they do, but they do. And Microsoft is eating up that mind share. So that's why I'm very excited to see how the next generation shakes out, which is going to be happening next year.
Yep, and they're just probably going to bounce back and forth like they have for the last 2 console generations.
They're keeping each other on their toes, and I love seeing it.
Pretty great.
So yeah, that seems to be to tie it back to the layoff conversation we were having earlier. That's the way marketing's going. Why spend a shit ton of money on a presence to have a convention at E3 when you could just do a 15-minute, tightly controlled video?
Yep. And you don't have to worry about live on-screen demos where the controller doesn't work.
Yeah, or shit going wrong, or the audio not working, or the stream cutting out, or any number of things. Live shows are a fucking nightmare to produce. This is why Nintendo stopped doing it. Because we all remember the Wii Music debacle when the guy went up there to play Wii Music and there was like an issue, and it was just, it became a meme. And not one of the good memes you want to be known for, a bad one. So Nintendo said, fuck this, we're not doing this anymore. We're doing our directs. They've been doing directs for what? It feels like fucking 8 years now. It could be less than that, but it feels like it's been that long. And the other two guys are just now getting into it. I wouldn't be surprised if you see EA and Activision eventually start doing their own version of a direct.
I feel like they would just tag into one of the hardware suppliers.
Maybe, but why? Activision Blizzard, maybe, because they have BlizzCon. But EA, they did E3 conferences, even despite in years where they spoiled all their shit at the other conferences. They still would have their own. So EA would do a direct. But marketing is changing. And this is one of the ways it's changing. We are having the message being sent out directly to us. You don't need that middleman of a conference anymore when everyone is constantly connected online and shit goes viral and you share videos. Which is why you don't need a massive staff of people on marketing anymore. And that sucks. David, you want to lead us off on the next topic?
Yeah, I was trying desperately to think of a way that we could actually switch to this, but fuck it. You know how the Epic Store is a thing?
Yeah.
You know how the Epic Store gives the devs a better revenue split than Steam?
Yep, and that's one of the things.
Turns out devs are acutely aware of this and are flocking to the Epic Store, and we've got a whole nother big list of upcoming Epic exclusives.
Exclusive specifically, that's more than just the revenue share. That means Epic is paying these guys to come over. Like Observation, which I was mentioning earlier from the Sony thing, that is now Epic Store exclusive.
Yep. A couple of big ones. Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and Detroit Become Human are all coming over.
all coming over to PC, Epic Store exclusive. The Quantic Dream PlayStation split is real. I have heard scuttlebutt that it was a bad divorce. I have nothing to back that up on, so don't go ask me to show my receipts. This is just rumor mongering. I could be wrong, but from what I understand, the fallout between Sony and Quantic Dream is bad, and I think this helps prove that all of these were Sony exclusives, and now like fuck it, we're bringing them all to the Epic Store.
Yep. Although, can we take a minute and talk about? So I just wanted to bring this up because I thought it was hilarious. Heavy Rain's like recommended PC specifications is actually pretty demanding.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a i7 2700K or better and a GTX 1080 or better. With at least
is that recommended?
That's the recommended.
Okay.
With 12 gigs of RAM.
That's not. I mean, that's bad, but it's not as horrible as I thought it was. I thought my brain heard that as the minimum.
No. The minimum is much lower, but yeah. I just think that's what you need for like the. On average, recommended is what you get for 1080p 60 frames a second, and that's more than a lot of things, right?
It is, because Heavy Rain was meant to be a PlayStation 3 exclusive, and remember, the PlayStation 3 ran on the fucking Cell processor. So,
there you go.
No one is compatible with that shit. That's why there are so many problems with PlayStation 3 games and compatibility. Because of that fucking proprietary chip that Sony loves so much. At least love. Engine? They don't love that. I would argue that's probably why. Take a look at Detroit Become Human. Tell me what the minimum specs for that is. I'd be willing to bet that or the recommend specs. I'd be willing to bet that it's lighter.
Possibly. I don't have it up right now. I lost the page, so I'll worry about it later.
Okay.
But there's also a big list of indie games coming to the Epic Store, and we can jump into these. We got Ancestors, The Humankind Odyssey.
It's important to note that these are exclusive to the Epic Store.
These are not launching on Steam. These are games that are coming to the Epic Store to be on the Epic Store. Because it turns out when you have an 88% revenue split, you get a lot of people that want to release your game on the platform that gives them the most money.
Well, it's more than that too. Epic is paying for these people to not be on Steam.
Yeah, well, Epic has the money to do it, and as we've already learned with the Metro release, launching on only Epic doesn't really hurt your bottom line. Nope. As a matter of fact, you just make more money.
2.5 times more than Steam made on their previous game.
Yeah, because it not only sold more, but they made more per copy.
Yep.
That's a huge deal. So if you have a small indie game and you're only going to sell 50,000 units, 100,000 units, on Steam you're getting 70%, on Epic you're getting 88%, and that will make a huge difference. Like, pretty quickly. So I get that people are mad about it because people don't want to deal with multiple launchers, but fucking A, this is the argument we've had for the last multiple years. Steam needs a goddamn competitor. Steam is everywhere, and everyone
Steam is a de facto monopoly
because it's the only thing there is. You don't actually love Steam, you just love it because that's where your games live. Now, if Epic manages to have, say, a real customer support line, it's going to be really great.
All right, bust through this list, and I'll go over one legitimate reason to be pissed off.
We've got Ancestors, Humankind Odyssey, After Party from Night School Studios, Control from Remedy Entertainment, The Cycle from Jaeger, Dauntless from Phoenix Labs, which that game I've been following for a while, and I thought...
What was Dauntless?
Dauntless is the
Monster Hunter
PC
ripoff.
Monster Hunter clone.
I don't want to say ripoff.
That didn't manage to beat Monster Hunter to a PC release.
That's rough. Control, by the way, is Remedy's game. This is what they're doing instead of Quantum Break or Alan Wake and all that good stuff. It looks cool. There's a new trailer that dropped for it today. Take a look at there.
But yeah, we got Industries of Titan from Brace Yourself Games, Journey to the Savage Planet from Typhoon Studios, Kine from Chump Squad, Sinking City from Frogwares, Spellbreak from Poldelariat, Solar Ash from Heart Machine, and finally, Phoenix Point from Snapshot Games.
So,
and
go ahead.
This is the one that's causing some... I was going to say, this is just causing some bugs. You can get into it.
There are a lot of, I think, bad reasons why people are hating on the Epic Store, and it's just more people going, oh, fuck, I don't want to launch another launcher. Well, as we said, Steam needs another competitor. However...
Also, half the games you play on Steam end up making you open, like, Uplay or something.
And there are some reasons to be pissed off at the Epic Store. There is a lack of security concern. There is Like, the friends list kind of suck. There's the lack of a shopping cart's an issue, but this is all stuff that can get fixed. One thing that I think is legitimately fucked up is when a game like Phoenix Point, who was crowdfunded, I might add, on Fig, goes, hey, pay us money and we'll give you a Steam code. And then they go, oh, we're Epic exclusive now. It's like, no, back the fuck up. You guys made a promise to release on Steam to the people who backed your ass. Same with, what was it, The Outer Worlds? Or Metro? Games that were on Steam that people were saying, you can pre-order this game on Steam. And in the case of Metro, they honored those pre-orders.
Well, and that's the thing is, yes, there was a bunch of people that had pre-orders, but they still got their game. This is kind of ridiculous because while it was announced for Steam, and they have a 1-year exclusive deal with Epic, and the backers that want the Steam key are either going to get a 1-year free DLC pass or a refund.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
That's fucked up. And in my opinion, this is one of those things like, no, motherfucker.
But that's also why I would have picked GOG in the first place, because you own those games. But that's neither here nor there.
You made a promise to your backers that is going to be on this. And this isn't like the Bloodstained situation where they're canceling the Vita version, because the Vita's fucking dead. They can't even make the cartridge to put it on there anymore. That's out of their hands. This is Snapshot Games. And Phoenix Point looks amazing. I really want to play Phoenix Point because I'm an XCOM fan. But this is them essentially telling people, yeah, we just changed our mind. I know you gave us the money for it. I know that you helped get our game off the ground. You invested, in quotes, because you're not actually investing in the game when you crowdfund something, common misconception. But they were given money in exchange for a promise, and they're fucking breaking that promise by going, we're not going to be on Steam anymore. And that is so fucked up. And that...
What's funny is because this is just more fuel to the don't back games on Kickstarter argument.
Yeah, period. I do not trust Kickstarter at all.
Not for video games?
Not for video games. For board games, all day long, because you have the rules right there almost always. But when it comes to video games...
half the time that you can just play it anyway.
Yeah.
But video games, it's a little ridiculous.
This one is fucked up, and this is why people can be salty at the Epic. No, I don't even want to say salty at the Epic Store. Be salty at Snapshot Games, because they're the ones that agreed to it.
You would be mad at the developer. That makes more sense to me.
Yeah. I'm not mad at Epic.
They can still sign the deal and say, hey, by the way, we have backers that have it on Steam. We have to give them Steam keys.
Because...
put that in the fucking agreement.
He's somewhat controversial, and I'm not necessarily a fan of his, but there is a developer called Rami Ishmael. I believe that's his name. He's half of Vlambeer, who came out and said, sorry, Steam, fuck you. You got outplayed. And he's right.
Mm-hmm.
Steam got outplayed.
Yeah. Because they've done nothing this entire time, but just,
And I have no problem with exclusive games.
And let their store bloat to fucking obscurity.
Right.
One of my favorite things about Epic is that they said they're just not going to let bad games on the store. And if that's true, if they actually have a real filter for the shit that gets released there, that's probably the most exciting thing to me.
Right. No, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I understand the logic of fucking let everything on there as long as it works. And I'm fine with that. That's why I support Steam going full pornographic with their library. Fucking put all the hentai games on there. I don't fucking care. I think people should be allowed to make the choice of what they want to play. That said, I also got no problem with the storefront coming and going, yeah, that's not going to be on here. We want a nice curated list, and let the market decide where people are going to go. And I also have no problem with exclusivity on its face value. If a developer goes, why should I
you're not fucking over people?
Yeah. A developer goes, I haven't made any commitments yet, and Epic is offering to give me $50,000 to make their game store, my game store exclusive to them. Sure, whatever. I'll go with that.
Free market, baby.
But when you say this game will be released on Steam, you make money off of that fact. And then you go, oopsie, we're on Epic now. Fuck off with that. That is such bullshit. God damn, that sucks. But as I pointed out earlier, that is not the fault of the Epic Store. That is the fault of the developer, and they are the ones who should be held accountable. Go after Epic for other shit. Go after Epic for the fact that they don't offer as many things as Steam does. Go after Epic for the fact that they don't have like a shopping cart. Go after them for their weird lack of security. I remember reading a story about how apparently it was like really fucking easy to hack people's accounts on the Epic Store. Allegedly. I need to look into that a little bit more. I can't say for certain. Go after people for that shit. Go after them for that shit. But this case, this is all on Snapshot Games. All of it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I know that
line in your damn agreement. Hey, sorry guys, we need to take a little bit of a hit because we have to give this to our backers specifically.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people got a chip on their shoulder about Epic Games, and even defending them, even as much as we did, is going to give us a lot of shit. But if you think that we're absolutely wrong, please let us know in the comments down below. Be civil about it. I know this is a hot topic. I get that this is some bullshit that PC gamers haven't had to deal with for years. I will simply highlight the fact that other clients have been around for multiple years before and have been exclusive on there. Origin, Uplay, for example. And also remember,
in the Microsoft Store.
No one ever bitched about Activision Blizzard having Battle.net.
It's true.
No one ever bitched about Warcraft and StarCraft and Diablo blinging on Battle.net. So it's not...
I mean, people bitched about Origin, but it's because Origin doesn't work.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily accept the exclusivity argument. What I do accept, though, is when you say you're going to be on one platform and then you fucking cut bait and run. That's fucked up.
Yep.
Oh,
anyway,
boy.
I think enough of that. Let's talk about something that's going to be on multiple platforms.
Nope, no, I take that back. There is no about that. This is exciting. This is exciting news. So, David, do you know anything about this, or should I lead us on this?
No, dude, this is all you. I was letting you go.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 was straight up announced, and god damn am I excited. So, for those of you who don't know, a few years back, Paradox, publisher that we both enjoy. These are guys that do Hearts of Iron, BattleTech, Stellaris, publishing arm. They buy also a couple studios as well. They bought the White Wolf license, and they said, "Hey, we're making White Wolf is a World of Darkness pen. It's an RPG. Think like Dungeons and Dragons, but set in a modern
White Wolf
day.
is tight. That's all you need."
And they're like, "Hey, we're gonna make some games set in the World of Darkness universe." I was like, "Okay, cool, sounds good." Let's cut back to 2004, I believe. A PC game called Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines came out. It was done by Trokia Studios, the guys that did Arcanum of Steamworks and Magic Obscure, a couple other things. Maybe one other thing, Temporal Elemental Might and Magic, I think that was it. But it was a really good RPG, albeit buggy all to hell. But it had an amazing story, and it's really, really fun. And if you can get it on Steam, download a fan patch, and the game is still amazing to this day. I knew that that Paradox was making a Vampire the Masquerade game, but not in my wildest dreams that I think that would do a direct sequel to that game. And they announced it a couple nights ago with this fake Tinder dating app thing that was actually meant to hook people up with vampires so vampires can eat them.
Makes sense.
And I am just shocked that this game actually exists. I can't even form my thoughts correctly about it.
Too excited.
Yeah, it's surprising that they just didn't go, we want to make our own game and put our own spin on it. It's like, no, this is a direct sequel to Bloodlines, set in Seattle this time around. It's being made by Hardsuit Labs, published by Paradox, and it's being written by the lead writer of Bloodlines, Brian Bitsoda.
It's pretty rad, actually.
Yeah,
I love when franchises come back, especially loved franchises.
This is just as surprising as when they announced System Shock 3 to me. I was like, holy shit. I can't believe this is happening, but this is happening. Or even Beneath a Steel Sky. Or Beyond a Steel Sky, rather. I kind of glossed over that earlier, but Beyond a Steel Sky is a sequel to Beneath the Steel Sky, which is one of the greatest adventure games of the 90s. And you owe it to yourself to take a look at it if you haven't played it. If you like games like Longest Journey.
Dude, I was excited when Titan Quest got an expansion 8 years late.
It's
just cool when stuff comes back from the dead, or what you thought was the dead.
So you can take a look at the trailer for it now. We know almost nothing about it besides what I just told you. And this game is still, they say it's a year away. I say it's 2 years away, given what I know about dev time. There is some concern about political leanings and shit, but we're not going to get into that here. I'm going to wait until the game's out because I got opinions on that. I got thoughts on that, but so does the entire internet, and they don't need me to rehash what I think about it. For once, I will show restraint on that side of things.
Wow. Tuesdays are weird for you.
Yeah, it's I don't know what it is. Make Tuesday great again.
Strange time in your life.
So yeah, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 announced. Looks cool. I'm excited for it. The fact that it's direct sequel, like everything seems to just be lining up right to it. Direct sequel. Has the same writer from Bloodlines on there. It's they could have just rebooted a new franchise or called it something else, but no, they're leaning into the fact that this is a sequel to that amazing RPG from 2004, I believe it was. It could have been 2003.
Yep. Although it's not probably coming out until sometime next year.
Yeah, they did say it's a year away or more, which is forever, David.
That is.
I don't like that.
It's a really long time for video game waiting. It's rough.
I can't handle that. I need something to play right now as I wait for then to be now.
Like besides Sekiro?
When is then now, David?
Soon. So let's talk about some new video games that are coming out this week. We got quite a few. It's the end of March. It's the end of just about the end of the spring gaming season before we hit the summer dry spell.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few more things coming out this week, and I think next month is when there's the last couple of like big-ish games. Right?
We are about to get to that. Like we have Days Gone coming up, but I can't think of anything else.
There's a bunch of stuff coming out in April. I just don't remember it off the top of my head. But this week,
okay, go on. This week though, we're focused on
Generation Zero for PC, PS4, Xbox One. Generation Zero is a game that looked really cool, but from what I hear, it's not what everyone
not doing
wanted.
too well. They say it's a great skeleton of a game.
It's set in 1980s Sweden. From what I understand, the landscape is just beautiful. It looks amazing. Basically, the local population has disappeared, and there's like little robots roaming the street hunting. And you're a kid who comes back home from vacation or from travel. You get home, you get a letter saying we had to go to the bunker, we had to flee, and you find like a backpack, a flashlight, and a gun. And you just need to go around, explore the open world, try and figure out what's going on, fight things. And you can team up with up to 3 friends and play co-op, which sounds pretty cool. From what I understand, though, the AI is kind of really good at tracking you. You're able to either fight and level up skills that way, or you can sneak, but then you don't really get any items, so sneaking isn't what people want.
There's really no rewards for sneaking in that game.
You get no reward for it, and the enemies are just so damn perceptive that it's really, really difficult.
Okay.
And there's even like items you can use that are supposed to distract the enemies. But most of the time what happens is the enemy just finds you anyway and kills you.
Okay. You remember that game Ring of Red?
Ring of Red.
Old PlayStation 2 game. Anyways, the mech designs Generation Zero remind me of that. Salty Frank, good to see you, by the way. Yes, we did talk about that last week there, Salty Frank. Halo Master Chief Collection PC has been announced completely released this year. Super excited for that. It's something that we did mention last show. Good to have you in chat, by the way.
Yeah. Also this week we have Nelk and the Legendary Alchemists, Altliers of the New World.
Altilias of the New World. This is a long-standing JRPG, and I swear to God, they released 3 of these a year.
Switch. There's constantly one of these games, one of these Alchemist games. This is a 20th anniversary title, I think, from the first one, from what I understand.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a town built with the legendary alchemists. This title aims to combine the slice of life atmosphere of living in a town, collaborating with various characters, and you also kind of govern the town, expand your world. It's still an RPG. It's still very Japanese looking. None of the music I heard was in English. I don't know. It's not for me, but it could be for you. If you're in the market for this, you probably knew it was already coming out before I did. So there you go. Outward comes out this week. PC, PS4, Xbox One. Outworld actually sounds kind of rad. It's an open world RPG where, it can be cold at night, you get injured, you can get an infected wound, and you're exploring a land, blah, blah, blah. But the twist is, instead of any other RPG where your character is story-wise invincible, because, most RPGs, you die, you just reload a save, you go back, so that your character's story is just, as far as the character's concerned, he always wins every fight and never has anything bad happen. And Outward, when you die, the game auto-saves, and you wake up just somewhere else and just keep playing, and the game kind of, changes around you, which sounds rad.
I've heard good things about this game.
I don't know how good it's going to do, but the concept alone makes me really interested in it.
I'll take a look at it. A quick aside for that Atelier game that we were talking about previously. I was curious to see how many games of that have been released in America. In the past 10 years, 25 of them have come out.
I feel like I have one every other show, so that makes sense. How about Skyworld, man? You still got your PSVR sitting around?
I do.
Skyworld is actually coming out. It's on VR for PlayStation this week, and it's the RTS game. I feel like I demoed this game at a PAX or at some show at some point. It looks really familiar to me. But you're managing like a castle. You have troops. You summon them. You attack the opponent. Blah blah blah. But an RTS in VR sounds cool because we just need more RTS.
I do like RTSs in VR. I have seen this before. It almost looks like a quasi tower defense. It probably area control if I had to venture a guess.
I think so. And then you still like play your units and fight each other.
I really want a proper Command and Conquer in VR.
That'd be tight. You can play it on your phone.
Maybe another Doom. Also, no, god damn it. I fucking forgot that existed. I'm psyched up for the Command and Conquer Remastered. I mean, they brought back Frank Kopacki to do the soundtrack to it. But god damn, I forgot that fucking phone game existed.
I keep a post-it note on my monitor so I can remind you anytime we start talking about Command and Conquer.
I hate that so much.
Grimshade hits PC this week. It's a party-based role-playing game inspired by 90s JRPGs. It's got a tactical turn-based combat system, story of war, and personal choices. It's very much a 90s style JRPG.
Okay.
If that's your jam, I don't have time for those games anymore. So what are you gonna do? Space Junkies comes out for Rift, Vive, and PSVR. Look at that, dude! More VR games. What year is it? This is a jetpack-fueled VR arcade shooter where you fly around through orbital arenas and fight each other. I feel like you're a dude in a backpack and you're flying around shooting other dudes in backpacks. It sounds an awful lot like a multiplayer-only shooter, but I don't know if this has any kind of single-player components or campaigns.
I think this is an Ubisoft game. I swear I saw it there once before.
That's fair. Dude, how about the surprise game that for a long time we didn't think was going to happen at all? The Walking Dead, the final season, episode 4, Take Us Back for PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and probably soon to be ported to every damn thing ever because that's where Telltale Games.
So happy that Skybound swooped in to finish this out.
This is great. From what I heard, episode 3 wasn't the best. But early reviews is that episode 4 is like a perfect swan song for the series to close out The Walking Dead. So I'm pretty stoked. Clem and AJ versus the end of the world. So glad we made it.
Yeah, I'm glad to see them actually be able to finish this up because the way Telltale went out was just fucking atrocious, and
yeah, it was rough.
Like we'll never get a Wolf Among Us 2. We'll never get a Tales from the Borderlands 2, but well, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that specifically there. But it looked rather grim for all of this stuff. And to see at least The Walking Dead, which was their flagship franchise, let's be completely honest about it.
It's the one that spawned everything else.
Yeah, what put Telltale on the map was The Walking Dead. It wasn't Sam & Max. It wasn't Back to the Future. It wasn't Jurassic Park. It was specifically The Walking Dead game. To see that at least get finished up in a nice... Apparently, it's, like you said, it's a good swan song for it. To see that actually get wrapped up that's a good feeling. Yeah,
I imagine that the remaining team members that were working on it were pretty stoked to get that out the door.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's cool. Xenon Racer comes out for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. By the way, since our show's on Tuesday, most of this shit's already out. Sorry.
Yeah, normal show's on Monday, but sorry, we had things. And speaking of which, we will be back this Monday.
Yep. So this is a racing game set in the year 2030 where all the vehicles fly except for there's a one-off championship for wheel-based vehicles that's been organized with cutting-edge electric cars boosted by xenon gas, whatever the fuck that is.
Xenon, wait, stop. You've never heard of xenon gas?
I've heard of it, but I don't know. One
of the noble gases. It's like argon and krypton.
Cool.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't want to sound elitist, but to me that's like saying you've never heard of aluminum.
I'm aware of the periodic table. I don't need to pretend to understand how you can just randomly pick an element or gas and then use it as fuel for a car.
Okay, okay. I thought you said you did. Yeah, I thought you were saying you had no idea what xenon was, and I was
No,
like,
it's
wait,
just
what?
xenon gas specifically is just one of those. You can't just take a science word and put it in front of a normal
Okay,
thing and make it
okay.
sound
I
sci-fi.
was confused as to the level of your knowledge at this point. I just thought you straight up never heard of xenon before,
Now,
and I was
now
really
hold on, we
confused.
got to check out our quantum batteries. Anyway,
Ulysses, by the way, we are starting to wrap up. Thank you for showing by, though. We're doing new releases at this point.
Xenon Racer does look kind of cool. If you're into sci-fi style racing games, it reminds me of like Wipeout with wheels or the F-Zero game that I'm never gonna get.
It's just never going to happen, man.
I know, but I will keep saying it because maybe one day. Final Fantasy VII came out on Xbox One and Switch. Did you know that?
Now,
And
I need to know.
that game is old as fuck. And okay, here you go.
Okay.
As far as I can tell, it is a much, much better port than the rest. It actually has like a proper font. I don't know about the music yet, but it looks better than like Final Fantasy IX does. So, where are you gonna go?
What else we got?
Path of Exile hits PS4.
As we slowly trail off.
I thought you were gonna respond to that. You asked me a question. Anyway, fuck Diablo. Get Path of Exile instead. Also coming out, we have Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel for PS4. Legend of Heroes was a game that was on PSP back in the day, and they were like regular top-down style RPG games. And now there's like this whole series of spin-offs of Legend of Heroes, and I don't even know what's going on anymore in these games. But this is one where you're playing as a dude in a military academy, and you have to fight a bunch of people, and it looks way more like an action RPG and far more 3D than the Legend of Heroes games that I remember. But again, this is one of those like JRPG adjacent series that just keeps coming out, and I feel like I'm constantly talking about them. Windscape hits PC, Xbox One, and Switch. That is a game where you play as a young girl on your parents' farm. You're set in a world of floating islands in the sky, and the world starts falling apart. Islands are breaking.
I played this like a year and a half ago.
This is a first-person adventure RPG. See, not first-person shooter, but you walk around first person. You can get a shield, you can get a sword, you can hit things. But it's an RPG. It actually looks pretty cool.
Hold on, let me take a look here. I think I've played this like a year or 2 years ago. Yeah, I have played this. I played this either at a PAX or a GDC or something.
It's been on Steam, I think, for a while in early access, but it should actually be launching this week.
Yeah, this game actually wasn't half bad. Take a look at it. I recommend taking a look at it, especially if you like. It reminded me, and I could be completely off base here because I only played it for like 10 minutes, but it reminded me of a cross of Zelda and Minecraft.
Cool. That sounds fun. That's a really good pair. That can work. Grim Dawn Forgotten Gods expansion comes out. More Grim Dawn shit.
Grim Dawn's damn good. If you like Diablo style games, Grim Dawn's damn good.
But if you don't have a PC, just get Path of Exile instead. War Party for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. It's a real-time strategy game set in the Stone Age era. It looks like a classic RTS, but it's kind of funny because you got caveman and soldiers, and you fight dinosaurs, and manage resources, manage skills, map awareness. It's another RTS games. I have no problem. Keep releasing as many RTS games as you want. The world needs more of them because they are all fun, in my opinion.
Is it real-time or turn-based?
Real-time.
Okay.
Tanzia, the official launch on March 28th. This is a game where it's a single-player RPG where you're trying to find the mystery of your grandfather's disappearance. It's got fast-paced strategy combat. It's got some classic RPG elements, 3D world, magic monsters. Looks very... I don't want to say fantasy generic, but I did. Dude, there's an expansion to Gwent, the card game.
I like Gwent. I'm not going to play it ever again.
Still going.
Yeah,
it's doing way the fuck better than the on average 250 concurrent player Artifact.
I was about to mention Artifact. I don't think Gwent is doing as much as CD Projekt was hoping for. I think they actually said it was underperforming, but it is definitely doing better than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, and it's cool. Tropico 6, because they can't stop making Tropico games. El Presidente is back. This is the island-style city sim featuring plundering, so that's fun. Make a boat and go plunder places, because you're El Presidente and you don't give any shits. Grim Dawn, but Gravekeeper, which is not Graveyard Keeper. That's a different video game. You're a bounty hunter, and it's an RPG. Dude, there's like a lot of just straight released RPGs coming out this week. I don't know how I found so many. They kept popping up everywhere. This game looks a lot like Dungeon Defenders, if you remember those games.
Nope.
Oh, Dungeon Defenders is a kind of cartoony game that was multiplayer co-op, where it's sort of a tower defense, but you fight in classes. This has the graphical style of Dungeon Defenders, but looks to be a single-player, standalone RPG, just adventure game.
You know, I look at this, and I get strong, like, Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley vibes from it, just at first blush.
I mean, you can, but this game is actually in 3D, so I don't know why you're going that
way. Not graphically, but, like, gameplay-wise. Just a quick look at it, because it looks like you're building, like, your own town, and then you go into dungeons and shit to harvest materials and bring them back to build a bigger town.
Oh yeah,
just what pops in my head at first.
How about the game I can't pronounce? Operencia, the Stolen Sun.
That might be Opernica.
Opernica. I already called it. I wasn't gonna say it right.
I'm thinking Xbox One. I'm thinking Copernicus because it's the Stolen Sun, and Copernicus was the dude that. Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent here.
That's fine, dude. This is an old school turn-based first-person dungeon crawler RPG.
Okay.
So like, what's that game? Grimlock?
Legend of Grimrock. Oh yeah.
It's that style of game.
I do like Legend of Grimlock quite a bit.
Cool.
Now, is it on a 2D plane like that is, or not 2D plane?
So.
Grid plane.
I believe so. Looking at videos, it looks like.
Okay.
Unheard for PC comes out on the 29th. This is like the audio detective game where you look for clues based on sound.
Weird.
Just look at a video on it because I have trouble. It's interesting to me. I don't know that I'd necessarily want to play it, but I do think it's interesting.
Fuck you if you're hard of hearing.
Yeah, probably. We also have Yoshi's Crafted World finally comes out on Switch. That's the new Yoshi adventure. That game will probably sell well because it is a Nintendo game and it's got Yoshi in it, and I think that's enough information on that. And finally, the Assassin's Creed 3 remaster hits every damn thing: PC, PS4, Xbox One.
More
Friday.
People excited for that than I thought there would be because Assassin's Creed 3...
I don't know why, dude. There's like a bunch of hype about Assassin's Creed 3.
There's some weird rose-colored glasses going on with that one, but hey, maybe people liked it more than I thought. And that wraps things up for new releases. However, that's not necessarily wrap up the show. Ulysses in chat brought up something that I was kind of hesitant to bring up because it involves me getting ranty and it's only tangentially connected to video games. And it certainly doesn't fucking... Well, I mean, it does, but not to the extent that it was our companions out in Europe. And that is that Article 13 has passed in the EU. Now, if you don't know what Article 13 is, take a good look at it and realize the clusterfuck nightmare that has just occurred when it comes to free internet in Europe. And that will have ramifications that actually even hit us here in America, too, I think. I don't want to get too ranty on it, but since chat did bring it up, I want to address it. Yes, I know that Article 13 passed, from what I understand, completely, fully in its entirety. David, I'm sure you have opinions on it as well.
I got opinions on a lot of shit, but I didn't want to get into it because it's already pretty late.
Yeah, we're not going to dig too deep into it, but I think we probably are both in agreement on this one that it is a fucking horrendous law, correct?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. And Europe, sort your shit out, man.
I mean, we're not any better. We got rid of net neutrality, so what are you gonna
do? See, I can actually make a case for getting rid of net neutrality, and it's been gone for a while, and yet the internet didn't burn down. Article 13, however, is completely and totally fucked. Anyways, enough ranting, because we can easily be here for another hour bitching about specifically that. But I did want to address it because people were asking about it in chat. So let's go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. Thank you all for watching GamePoints episode 167, our weekly little get-together where we talk about recent gaming news. I know that this came on a Tuesday. We normally don't do Tuesday. Next week, we are going back to our normal schedule. Monday is at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here at Twitch TV/GamePoints if you want to watch us live and join the conversation. We always appreciate when people pop in. Salty Frank, Ulysses, always good to see you in there. Dr. Hugo, I saw you in here earlier too. And to anyone else who happened to be lurking, your presence is appreciated. But if you cannot watch us live, go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/GamePointsPC, and feel free to watch all the old shows there as well. Regardless of where you watch, comment, like, subscribe, throw bits at. If you're sitting on a Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime subscription, I'd appreciate it here, but if you don't use it here, use it somewhere. Make sure you give it to your favorite streamer out there. If you guys want to support channel, you all know what to do. I'm just kind of preaching to the choir at this point. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at GamePoints PC. You can follow myself, Steve Red, at CapitalistPig21, and you can follow David there at _Satori. Once again, thank you all for showing up. This has been GamePoints episode 167. One more piece of news, actually, before I round out, and this will be mentioned on Monday as well. I will be on Kind of Funny Games Daily, April 2nd. I am really looking forward to it. You can go to their website. You can go to their Twitch stream, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, and tune in at 10 a.m. Tuesday, April 2nd, and I will be their guest host for that show. I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope to see you all there, and I hope to see you all this Monday, and I also hope to see you all during normal streaming hours, Tuesday through Thursday, when we get back to our normal schedule. Anyways, that's it. You all have a good night, and I will catch you later.